Thank you for joining us for meditation this morning on our Sunday celebration day prior to our service. I would like to start today's meditation with a nice reading by Ernest Holmes from his book 365, Science of Mind. The name of the reading is An Inspiration Within Me Guides Me Aright. The disciple John tells us that God is a spirit, and they that worship God must worship God in spirit and in truth. Wonderful indeed is this conception of the union of all life, which Jesus proclaimed in the ecstasy of his illumination. I and the Father are one. All cause and effect proceed from the invisible spirit. Humankind is one with the Spirit and cannot be separated from it. Our word has power because our word is the action of God through our thought. And now we will enter into a period of silent meditation for approximately 15 minutes. And then I'll bring you out of the meditation. conversation with the remainder of the reading. And now clarify my vision, purify my thought, so that it becomes a mirror reflecting inspiration direct from the secret place of the Most High, at the center of my own being. I do this by quiet contemplation, and not through strenuous effort, but by learning to fast with all negation, and to feast on the affirmations of spiritual realization. I know that I need never
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. We're so grateful that you are joining us this morning, whether you're here in the room at Sophie's Grill and Bar, or you have invited us into your homes through the power of live streaming. We are grateful for your presence and can feel your energy, whether you're here or whether you're out there. So thank you so very much for being with us today. We are part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living, and we embrace new thought and ancient wisdom teachings, and through them we believe in a practical spirituality that we can use to create the life that we want to live individually and create the world that we want to live in collectively. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dusty Rippelmeyer, and I have the honor and the privilege of being this beautiful community's senior minister. And we are a loving spiritual community committed to a world of acceptance, compassion, love, and joy. We gather together to express love, to celebrate life, to grow spiritually, to practice radical acceptance and inclusion, and to connect with one another. What we're really about is providing a supportive spiritual community, a place where we can begin or continue to walk our own spiritual path and to support others as they do so on theirs. We welcome all of you that have been attending our services or our classes or our social events, and we welcome all of you who may be joining us for the very first time. We see all of you. We celebrate you. We know who you really are. We appreciate you, and we're so very grateful that you have chosen to include us in your morning. Thank you so very, very much. Speaking of gratitude, my gratitude and appreciation goes out to licensed spiritual practitioner Diane Carnes for her beautiful meditation, which really enlarged the container that our service will unfold within. Thank you so very much, Diane. And speaking of Diane, let's welcome her back up to the podium.
Thank you, Reverend Dusty. Our theme for the month of December is the journey of becoming. Reverend Dusty's talk title is called The Joy of Becoming. I am now going to read this community's purpose statement, and this is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives into being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. And now, if you would, please close your eyes, turn within, open your heart and mind, and allow the healing sounds of the crystal bowls to simply wash over you.
I now invite you to bring your attention back into your bodies and into the room. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths, as represented by this ceremony. Please welcome John Carnes, who will be assisting us this morning. Thank you, John. Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere, with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths.
So it is.
Thank you, John. Now I invite you to turn within as I speak a word of blessing on the service today, recognizing in this moment the one source, the one spirit that unites through us all. Knowing that source as love, as devotion, as peace, as joy. I recognize that I am one with that I am an individualization of that peace, love, and joy, that there is no separation between the allness and goodness of spirit and the person that I am. I know this as the truth of me, as I know this as the truth of each of us, that we are all united by that golden thread as one source, as one energy. And from that place of unity, I speak a word of blessing on this service today, on Reverend Dusty as she comes forward to share the message today, knowing that Spirit is speaking through her, and that each of us are open to hear, open to receive, and that we hear that perfect thing that we need to hear today. I speak a word of blessing on Diane Carnes for her beautiful meditation and for her presence in our community as a practitioner, and for being the platform host today. And I speak a word of blessing on Cindy Johnson for her gift of music and her presence in the community. And I speak a word of blessing on Ava as she holds down the AV duties today, knowing that we are sounding and looking good. And I speak a word of blessing on each of you for your presence in our community, for your holding the truth each day in your lives, and for the amazing light that you shine each day as you go about your life. I am grateful for this time and for this opportunity to bless this service, and I ask you to anchor this with me with our words, and so it is. The reading for today is from the Science of Mind magazine from November by Reverend Petra Wells. She says, spirituality isn't just contemplating the qualities of the divine and trying to stay in blissful being. It is also consciously creating and living in alignment with these qualities, manifesting them in our human experience. This is, in fact, the purpose of the creative process, to move the potential of being into actualization of becoming. And now I'd like to introduce our musician for the day, Miss Cindy Johnson.
Whoever we think we are, wherever we think we're headed, whatever we're going through right now, there's a truth behind it all, about the stuff we're really made of. And the greatest truth of all is that in His image God has made us. And if that's true, then think about what it says for me and you. God is light, and so are we. God is love, and so are we. God is life, and so are we. It's truth what cannot be denied. God is power, and so are we. God is peace, and so are we. God is beauty and joy, and so are we. That's the truth of ourselves and the truth of all mankind. Life cuts through the darkness of our lives. Love unites us when we're all as one. Life is a gift we share and cherish every day. Peace is our heartfelt prayer. Joy is found most everywhere. Power is the knowledge that our precious dreams will always find a way. And beauty is in every rock and flower, everything each passing hour. God is light, and so are we. God is love, and so are we. God is life, and so are we. It's the truth that cannot be denied. God is power, and so are we. God is peace, and so are we. God is beauty and joy, and so are we. That's the truth of ourselves and the truth of all mankind.
Beautiful, Cindy. Thank you so very much. The absolute perfect song, as always.
Yay, Spirit.
You are amazing. Yes, yay, Spirit. So last Sunday, my message was entitled Surrender is Action. And I talked about the transformative power of surrender. But it occurred to me that many people may have been a little bit perplexed. And I thought that you might be perplexed because here at the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, we teach and we believe that there is a power for good in the universe that we can use to co-create lives that we really love to live. We teach that we're not powerless in the face of the events that are unfolding around us, that our thoughts and our words, fueled by our feelings and our beliefs, have the power to create and to recreate the experiences of our lives again and again and again. So those people that were perplexed, and perhaps a few more that are jumping on that bandwagon in this moment, might be asking, so which one is it, Dusty? Which one is it? Should we ask for what we want in life, or should we live our lives from a place of surrender? Now, this is what spiritual masters call a spiritual paradox. Joel Fontenos, in an article in the Science of Mind magazine called Solving the Spiritual Paradox, says, a spiritual paradox is two ideas that seem conflicting on the surface, but come together to hold a divine truth. So the underlying idea is that we wrestle with these seemingly different and opposing conflicts or concepts until we really are able to gain a greater understanding of both of them. And there's many books and there's many workshops that we can attend that talk about both of them, both manifesting and surrender. Many spiritual teachers will say that we should be manifesting, and that not only should we be manifesting, but that we should be very specific. That vague desires create vague results. And so they say to be very specific. But others might say, do not pray for specifics, because if we are too specific, then we hold back the reins from the universe, which may create something that we hadn't even thought of before. Jesus says, ask and you shall receive. Or he also says, believe it and it will be done unto you. But, on the other hand, he also said, not my will, but thy will be done. So which of these seemingly opposing ideas should we choose? Should we be specific and consciously manifest the desires that we have, or should we surrender to the will of God and be accepting of what is unfolding in our lives in the moment? In truth, both have benefits. On one hand, when we are more specific, we learn that life mirrors our thoughts and our beliefs, and we learn that we can indeed create a more positive experience of life. We move from being a victim battered about by the experiences and the situations that we encounter in our lives, and we step powerfully into the creative beings that we were created to be. On the other hand, when we surrender, we begin to sense that we are part of a larger whole, that we're not alone, that we're connected to everything and everyone around us. We learn to listen for and to our inner wisdom, that still small voice of God within us. We begin to see all of the experiences of our lives through our spiritual eyes, which allow us to really be able to see the blessings that are inherent in all of them, not just the ones that we would describe as good, but in all of the experiences of our lives. When we surrender, we let go of the results of our actions. When we turn those results over, we're granted access to the present moment in a very new and fresh way, in a way that we have never experienced it before. When everything that we are thinking or saying or doing is no longer aimed at controlling the future or at producing some particular result, then we're able to drop into that present moment. And then we experience it directly as it actually is, not as some way we think it should be. Joel Fontenot says, as with many spiritual paradoxes, the answer is one of balance. We need both, not just one or the other, in order for our lives to be full and rich. And one of the best examples that we can find of this is found in the Bible. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then all these things shall be added unto you. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then all these things shall be added unto you. If you think about that, the verse doesn't exclude one or the other one of them, but it actually encompasses both. So there is nowhere that Jesus says that we should not seek out success, or should not seek out money, or that we cannot have the house or the job or the home of our dreams. The underlying idea of this verse is that those desires should not be our ultimate goal or our top priority, but that if we seek ye first the kingdom, meaning if we align ourselves with God, if we really stand firmly grounded in our awareness of our unity with the divine, then all these things will be added unto us. We will experience all of them in our lives, all of our desires. So the invitation is to align ourselves with the truth of who we are, thereby elevating our consciousness to the highest place that we possibly can. Cindy's saying, just think about what that could do if we were to realize our oneness, to know that right where we are, God is. When we do so, we're open to inspiration, and we're open to revelation. We no longer need to be more or to do more or to have more, because we realize that we are more. We are more. We are a divine emanation of God. How much more could we be? We know that we're worthy, and live our lives from this awareness, knowing that we're one with the flow of life, and that flow of good, that flow of life is constantly, consistently flowing to and through us. For me, today's message, the joy of becoming, shows up in a very similar way. The joy of becoming. On one hand, we know we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are an individualized expression of God and ambassador of its presence on the planet. At our very core, we are not our bodies. We are not our jobs. We are not our relationships. We're not our things. We are not anything external outside of us that is constantly changing. We are eternal, unchanging centers of light in the mind and heart of God. Cindy sang about that today. We are eternal, unchanging centers of light. One of our fundamental propositions in Science of Mind is that God is all there is. When we say that God is all that there is, we mean that God is the indivisible essence and substance of all form. It is the first cause. It is the origin, or the universal energy back of everything. And when we say everything, we mean everything, seen and unseen. When we say everything, we include everything. Everything everything is possibility and all actions. When we say everything, we include every single sentient being on the planet and the planet itself. When we say everything, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that what we are talking about is each and every single one of us, with no exceptions. We are divine manifestations of the divine. Right where we are, God is in its fullness and in its wholeness. If it is true about God, it is true about each and every single one of us. That's amazing. To understand the indivisible wholeness at the center of our being is to understand that God's nature is our nature, that God's power is our power, that God's love is our love, that God's peace is our peace, that God's abundance is our abundance, God's joy is our joy. The whole universe is concentrated at the point where we are. Who we are at our very core is that point, nestled deep in our inner sanctuary, perhaps hidden at times from our view, but nonetheless there is the light of God, the seed of perfection, the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you want, it is there. It is present within us. The bottom line is that God is all that there is, and if there is nothing unlike it, then there can be no division between God and us. There can be no division. Who we are is the presence of God itself. God pours itself through all of creation, using itself as both the putty and the sculpture. This moment in time is God. And the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. Our being in this moment is a necessary part of the unfolding of the divine. So the invitation is to take a moment to really take that in, to drink it in, to bask and luxuriate in the mystery and the magnificence of that truth. The invitation is to be still and know. In the stillness, we are allowing the life of God to shine through us. Each and every single one of us has the power and potential to awaken the true nature of God in us. And as we do so, we arrive at heaven on earth. It's not some external thing that we go to when we die, but it is something that we can be in right here, right now. So if God is already whole, perfect, and complete, and we are the presence of God, then we are all already whole, perfect, and complete. There's one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Ernest Holmes says, we are not becoming this life, but we are now in and of this life. There is no other life. God is not becoming. God is. God is not growing. God is complete. God is not trying to find out something. God already knows. So if this is the beingness of God, which I believe that it is, then it also must be our beingness. If we are already whole, perfect, and complete, then there is nothing to strive for, nothing to fix, nothing to expand upon, nothing to begin, nothing to find, nothing to learn, nothing to know, nothing to finish, nothing to tie together. Or is there? Or is there? In today's reading from the November Science of Mind, Reverend Peter Weldes says, as Heather read earlier, spirituality isn't just contemplating the qualities of the divine and trying to stay in blissful being. It's not just that. It's also consciously creating and living in alignment with these qualities, manifesting them in human experience. This is, in fact, the purpose of the creative process. Potential of being into the actualization of becoming. The bottom line is that within everything and everyone there is an impulsion that toward self-expression of our inner divine nature. It's that divine discontent, or that still small voice of God that keeps knocking at the door of our consciousness. And an impulsion to really express every God quality that is at our core. The impulsion is dynamic and it is irresistible. And we express it in our own unique way. No one can express it in exactly the way that we can. It's the dance of being and becoming. And we are necessary for its expression. Living our highest and best self requires these two related states. Number one, being completely grounded in our divine self, the beingness. And number two, stretching out beyond that place to grow into the possible, or the becoming. The paradigm of simply being burdens and constrains our lives because it deprives us of a richer and fuller participation with life. God gets to participate in life when we are doing something other than just being, right? So, and becoming without being is uninspired and it lacks spiritual vision. So together they create a dynamic, creative tension that when fully expressed offers a tremendous gift to us in our own individual lives and to all of us collectively in the collective experience of life. Peter Weldis says, "For you and me, this means our journey of becoming is necessary for the unfolding wholeness of the universe itself. Every moment of growth, whether in awareness of truth, in alignment with Spirit's qualities, or in skill or capability, is the being we are becoming more fully expressed and realized, adding to the infinite expression of life as a whole. As becoming more, we are evolving humanity and all of life." So the underlying truth is that all of nature and the whole entire universe itself is consistently and constantly evolving into higher levels of complexity and order, becoming more and more fully expressed moment by moment by moment. It is always happening. That is kind of the nature of life itself, that everything is always evolving. Everything is always becoming more and more of itself. If we were to just think about an acorn, it's like my favorite example, so it's just easy. So think about an acorn, right? In and of itself, it's already whole, perfect, and complete. And yet there is this divine impulsion within the acorn to grow, to be all that it was created to be. When the conditions are right, the acorn will always become an oak tree. It can be no other way. The acorn can become nothing else. That which was involute, that which was put into it when it arrived on the planet, right? That which was involute is always going to fulfill its promise. It cannot do anything else. Everything that the acorn needs is already within the acorn, and it simply engages in the process of becoming as nature designed it to. It is fully engaged in the dance of being and becoming. we too have that impulsion to be, to grow, to evolve, to become. The impulsion we have within us is the same impulsion that created the planets and the stars and the seas, that same impulsion that created the beauty that is nature, that same impulsion that is the boundless variety of animals and plants, that same impulsion that created this amazing earth suit that we wear during our human existence. The acorn is singularly focused. Nothing deters it from its process of becoming. It has clarity of intention. And what I mean by clarity of intention means that it aligns itself with that clear and singularly focused purpose of the impulsion itself. To have clarity of intention means to align ourselves with the truth of who we are. When we do this, anything is possible. We are no different than that small little acorn. No different. The purpose of life is to allow this divine essence to express itself in form. The higher self, the Christ consciousness, the spark of the divine within, lovingly pushes us. It lovingly pushes us to express this essence in our everyday life. That is that impulsion. To express it in our everyday lives, whether we're aware of it or not. Whether we say yes to it or not, it will keep pushing. When we stay firmly grounded in our awareness of the source of our being, we're capable of so much more than we could ever imagine. We're capable of taking great quantum leaps, physically, mentally, spiritually, creatively, in every single arena of life. There's nothing that could stop us. The more we are rooted in the truth of our being, the more connected we are with the divine expression that we arrived here to be. This is our beingness. In the end, sooner or later, in this life or another, there will come a moment in the life of every single person in the world when the truth of a higher plan or a higher reality will start to dawn upon us. That's that divine discontent, that impulsion. We will begin to hear it. And the moment we start getting it, the moment that we catch it, the moment that we say yes to it, is when we consciously step onto that spiritual path and allow the becoming of all that is seeking to express through and as us to actually do so. Fortunately, this process has a sacred plan within it. A sacred plan that involves both being and becoming. Both are significant. Neither makes sense without the other. And we arrived with both of them. Ernest Holmes says, since universal spirit is infinite, the possibility of human expansion is limitless. Therefore, evolution, or the unfoldment, is the eternal process through which being passes into becoming. Through which being passes into becoming. The invitation today is to really begin wherever we are in the matter, and to find the right and perfect balance for each of us individually. That balance between consciously manifesting the desires of our dreams and surrendering to the presence of God or the presence of what is unfolding in the moment, and between being and becoming. For both, we are encouraged to surrender our underlying belief in separation. It does not serve us at all. To surrender that underlying belief in separation and really cultivate a deep awareness of our oneness. Our oneness with God, with the divine, with spirit, with life, with love, whatever you want to call it, but to recognize that we are one. To stand firmly grounded in our beingness, that oneness, and from that place, becoming happens with ease and grace. Now, I love that we're having this conversation right now, here today, during the time of Advent, which just happens to fall right during the time of the beginning, the end of fall and the beginning of winter. Perhaps more than any other season, winter can be the most dramatic and striking. It's a time of symbolic death, like that, the death of the idea of separation. So it's a time of symbolic death and quiet slumber. Activity gives way to dormancy. It's the earth sleeps and all of the creatures retreat back into themselves. For humans, winter is a time to unplug, to recoup, to renew, to get back to what is most important to us. Life is still indwelling and silent. It's a time of introversion, of contemplation, and of really going within. It's a perfect time for preparing the way. A perfect time for this really lovely pause. Symbolically, winter invites us to quiet our minds, to still the soul and to crystallize our inner workings. It's a time to gain purity and clarity. It's a time for taking a break, to prepare for the changes that will occur as we step into a brand new year. A brand new year, a brand new world, a brand new us. Teilhard de Chardin wrote, "Joy is the infallible sign of the presence of God." Joy is the infallible sign of the presence of God. During this season, we honor and celebrate the activity and the presence of the divine in and through all life. We celebrate in our unity with the divine and with each other. We celebrate the birth and the rebirth of our awareness of the Christ consciousness within us. During the season, we laugh and we dance and we revel in the magic of the season. And we do so because we know that everything we need is already within us. That everything that we need to become all that we were created to be, we already have. We arrived on the planet with it. That we are more than prepared and more than capable of stepping into this process of joyfully becoming. The truth is that this is how we were created to live. And the time to step into that life is right now. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you all. So I just invite us to close our outer eyes, to turn within, to allow ourselves to really turn to that center of our being, that spark of the divine within us, and to allow ourselves a moment to just take it all in, to bask in its magnificence, in its mystery, and to know, truly know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is for us and never against us. That it loves us unconditionally and is always ready, willing, and able to give us the kingdom of heaven on earth. That it is already there, already present, simply for our awaiting our acceptance. I know that I am one with this power and presence. I know that it is who I am at my very core. And just as I know that this is my truth, I know that it is absolutely true for each and every person here at Sophie's, each and every person in Technoland, each and every person, whether you're listening to us now or you choose to listen to us at a later point in time, all sentient beings on the planet, we are all divine emanations of the One, ambassadors of its presence on the planet, here to fulfill a divine purpose that is an impulsion from within. And it is from that place of unity, connected by this golden thread of God stuff that weaves itself throughout all of life, that I speak these words about and for each of us today, truly calling in our awareness of who we are, our awareness of that impulsion within us, our awareness of our capability of powerfully stepping into becoming, to aligning with our beingness and allow our becomingness, to say yes to that divine impulsion, to allow ourselves to let loose anything that gets in the way of it, any resistance that we have, any belief that we might have in separation, and to just surrender. And from that place of surrender, from that place of deep and abiding connection, we can and easily and gracefully use that power to create the life that we love to live, a world that works for everyone. And I claim ease and grace for each of us around this process, knowing that it is truly who we came here to be and the life that we were created to live. And I'm so grateful to know this truth, so grateful to speak these words, so grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes, that my words are clothed in form even as I speak them. And so I speak them and I release them into that law with full expectation of their manifestation, letting go and letting God be God. And I invite each of us to anchor this prayer for ourselves, for each other, for our community, and for the world, simply by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Amen. Thank you all so very much. So now is the time for our conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. This is a time every week when we offer financial support to assist this community to continue to be a beacon of light and love for ourselves and others. Together we affirm the truth that today's offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and adds to the experience of sufficiency on the planet. There are several ways that you can give, and they're here on the wall. Visit our website at www.trianglecsl.org, and there's a button on that first page up in the top that says Give. You can just click on that, and that will take you to a link where you can give. You can text the word GIVE using the following number, 919-230-8445, or you can, of course, send a check through snail mail to our office. Our new address is PO Box 4062, North Carolina 27519. In this moment, please take your hand and put it over your heart with your gift or simply with an intention for our community, and we will say our offering affirmation as a call and response. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. With gratitude, knowing God is my source. And so it is. So it is. Thank you all so very much for your gifts. I'm very grateful for each and every single one of you. Speaking of gratitude, I'm so grateful for this lovely woman in my life and in the life of this community. Please welcome back to her piano the amazing Cindy Johnson.
I've spent so much time thinking about all the things I'm not, ignoring my own gifts and the things I haven't got. So much pain, so many years, convinced I'm not enough. You know it's tough to see the light when shadows fall. I've been burdened by my history, carrying the past. It's time to let it fall away, live my life at last. What if I could say goodbye to the lies of yesterday? What if I decide to let it go? What if now I start to be the one I'm meant to be? What if now I begin to shine my light? What if today is the day I celebrate the beauty of my soul? What if now I finally let my spirit see? Everything would have its perfect place somehow. What if now the voices in my memory are heartless and unkind? I would never say to anyone the things I say in my own mind. It's time to love myself for all I am and all I'm not. I've got to find the strength to free my soul. What if now I start to be the one I'm meant to be? What if now I begin to see my light? What if today is the day I celebrate the beauty of my soul? What if now I finally let my spirit see? Everything would have its perfect place somehow. What if now? Oh, how about now?
Thank you, Cindy. What if now you would love for us to pray with or for you for some amazing thing that's happening in your life? We would love to do that, and you can do that by going to our website at trianglecsl.org, and on the home page there's a button in the upper right-hand corner, and click on that button and fill in the request form. We will get that prayer out to the ministers and the practitioners. Now, if you would like to provide flowers for our Sunday celebration services, we would love that. And whether or not you provide a dedication with that is totally up to you. Please contact myself at info@trianglecsl.org or Reverend Dusty at dustyrippelmeyer@yahoo.com. And this month of holidays, December, we are so excited to be looking at a different holiday each Wednesday. And this Wednesday, we would love for you to join us for our special Wednesday service and looking at Ganapati. Panchagatapati. I practiced that. I swear I practiced that. Panchaganapati. It just rolls off your tongue. This is a modern Hindu festival in celebration of Lord Ganesha, the patron of arts and guardian of culture. Panchaganapati. In December, runs from the December 21st through the 25th. It's a Hindu expression of the natural season of worship, gift-giving, and celebration. The fourth Wednesday, December 22nd, we will celebrate winter solstice. It is the time of the year when the sun is at the lowest point above the horizon. It is the shortest day and the longest night of the year and signifies the return of the light. And the final Wednesday celebration will be Kwanzaa on December 29th. Kwanzaa reflects the traditions of harvest festivals that are celebrated in many African countries. These acknowledge the first fruits of the harvest and the reward of family and friends working together to produce the season's crops. As with any holiday, Kwanzaa traditions vary and continue to evolve with each celebration. Please plan to join us online Friday evening, December 24th, for our Christmas Eve service. From the sacredness of a virgin birth to the amazing delivery of millions of presents in one night, Christmas Eve exemplifies the magic of the season. No other evening asks us to believe quite like Christmas Eve. The underlying truth is that we believe in these things because of the indescribable way they make us feel, and that is where the magic lies. So join us on Christmas Eve as we dive deeply through message, music, candle lighting, and prayer into four of these feelings: faith, love, joy, and peace. The evening begins at 7 p.m., and it is on Facebook Live and YouTube, just as you join us for Sundays. We would also love for you to join us for our annual New Year's Eve service on Friday, December 31st. Through music, message, prayer, and meditation, we will celebrate the past, honor the present, and welcome the future. This service will be streamed on YouTube and Facebook Live at 7. And finally, to powerfully kick off 2022, we invite you to join us online or in person for our annual New Year's Day visioning and vision board process. The New Year's Day event will be held at the Lodge at Crossroads at 200 Brisbane Woods Way in Cary, and that runs from 1 to 4 p.m. If you're unable to join us in person, please join us online, and that will be on Zoom. And we invite you to start now to gather your magazines, glue sticks, scissors, and poster board if you're not joining us in person. And if you are joining us in person, we will provide all the necessary things to make an amazing vision board that will carry you through 2022. We ask that you please RSVP to info@TriangleCSL with the number of people coming if you're joining us in person so we can better plan. Now, in the comfort of your own homes, please stand for our December affirmations. This is a call and response, and I invite you to please say it with meaning and repeat after me. As this year comes to an end, I welcome the new year with a beginner's mind. I approach it with awe, wonder, expectancy, excitement, and longing for growth. I engage that same energy to my outer experience of life itself. In this moment, I choose to no longer be held down by my past. Limiting beliefs and old paradigms no longer have power over me. Through surrender, I create space for a new way of being in the world. I sit in the stillness of the season, joyfully awaiting the revelation of the divine. The Spirit within me makes all things new. I rejoice in the journey of becoming. And so it is. You may be seated. And I would invite you one last time to please turn within. Recognizing the amazing presence that is Spirit, that energy that is back of all creation, that joy, peace, and love that permeates all of creation. I know that source as comfort, as possibility, as creativity, as infinite wisdom and intelligence. I know that I am one with all of those amazing attributes. That in the process of becoming, I align myself with Spirit, with the possibility of offering my light into the world, with the possibility of being the best that I can be each day as I live my life for God, experiencing life for God, knowing that the way that I present myself in the world makes a difference. The way that I interact with others makes a difference. I do that all knowing that I am a spiritual being having a human experience. From this place of unity, I'm knowing that today unfolded in perfection, that all that needed to be said was said, and that all that needed to be heard was heard. I'm knowing that this week unfolds in that same perfection and offers us all opportunities to shine our lights and to practice loving kindness and to observe and enjoy this beautiful holiday season. And I ask you all to anchor this prayer with me with our words, and so it is.
Thank you all for being with us today. Really have an absolutely amazing week, and we'll see you soon. I love you.